Yo, 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 everybody. What's poppin'? Dirty
Well,
talking here with
shit.
Nana. What's going on,
Ah,
everybody?
shit. Marty, we're back. We took a hiatus. Um, Shit's gone down last couple weeks since we've been off the air. But I think the people need a little update. Um, and let me just start. Go fly, Eagles fly. Marty, I've had the best 4 weeks of my life being an Eagles fan. Just kidding. The Super Bowl is the best time of my life, but um, I think I think we're on our way, Marty. I think I'm on the way.
Yeah, Eagles look good, but we'll see. Bills are going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs, so we'll see if they can do it. But, um, anyways, yeah, I mean, coming into week 5 here, a lot of teams probably feeling good. Other teams like myself and Matt probably feeling kind of shitty. So, I mean, we'll get into it. We figured we'd kind of do a little bit of recap, talk about your guys' teams and players that we've liked thus far and players that, you know, maybe on a bit of a cold streak here
They
and
just don't move the needle as much as we
yeah,
thought they would.
might be causing us to get some L's here. So we'll get right into it here.
Hell yeah! Let me pop up this screen right here, share it with the people, and just a quick review of the standings. Vinny, as it stands, our current leader at number one. I think I called this one going into the season. We knew Vinny had a good team. Not surprised he's at number one. Number two, Brendan. I am absolutely shocked at this, Marty. I
Yeah.
predicted Brendan would only win two games this year. So I will eat crow. I apologize, Brendan. What do you think of this?
I mean, yeah, Brendan Steven's performed well. He hasn't been, you know, hit with injuries or bye weeks yet, so hopefully he can
Favorable
continue on this
schedule.
trend. So we'll see. We are concerned with Brendan's team's depth. Hasn't really been tested yet, but starting week 6,
Yeah, here
our
come the
bye
bye
weeks kick
weeks.
in. So just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Coco coming in at number three. Again, team's just solid. It's performing. It's putting up points. His main players, especially Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey, have been carrying his team. So,
Yeah, beat
he's
Brian
number three.
last week there. So kudos, Brian. That was another tough loss, but hopefully more to come for me. We'll see. But
uh,
Jorge at 4. So Brendan, Vinny, Brian, and Jorge all have 3-1 records. So still very close. Like as you know, Matt's 0-4, a lot of 2-2s and 1-3. So not
yep.
too far off. Hopefully Matt's not getting too discouraged as the only 0-4, but
Hey,
thoughts with
all
the
you
team.
got to pay attention to is whoever's in sixth place. Right now it's Dylan at 2-2. After Jorge, I slipped in at number five. I'm having an okay year. I'm still hopeful. I know I have a good team, just tough matchups at the very beginning. But I think I'm on the road towards having racking up a couple wins here in a row. I have Steve coming up this week, so should be a dub in my favor. But Dylan at six, he's in the playoffs right now. The reigning champ is in the playoffs. I think he's about to run into a wall here. But what do you think about what Dylan's been doing so far?
Um, I mean, if I'm Dylan, I'm still concerned. I still think he's going to be a team that's, on the outskirts of the playoffs here. But um, he had a good week against me. He got a win off me. I know that. I don't know who he beat the first time around there, but
He beat
maybe
Alex
Alex.
in week
Yeah, I
one.
was going to say maybe Alex. So I mean, he's 2-2 now. Like I said, bye weeks are coming up. That's where things are going to get shooken up, and I think Dylan's team had some trouble points, if you know what I mean. So got some holes.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Number seven is probably the most surprising team being at number seven with Steve EB over here. Um, we're gonna get to you, Steve, but I think you've had, in my opinion, the most disappointing players to start the year. Team has definitely not lived up to the hype that it showed on paper. So then he was the last of the 2-2 teams. So Steve's
yeah,
definitely got a chance to win his way in. So he's got to beat me this week. And then outside looking in right now is you, Marty, at number eight.
Yeah. I mean, one bright spot about my team I'm looking at here right now is I'm scoring a lot of points, but just come look how close it is, the difference there. It's just a little bit off there. So
Yeah,
um,
you're
I'm
scoring
higher
more
than
points
the
than
top
6 and 7.
six. I mean the bottom six there. So hopefully that means brighter days are to come, especially in the near future here. But we'll see. We'll see if Matt gets his first win this week against me. Hopefully not, but
Oh, it's a
we'll see.
dispensable this week.
Yeah, it's an ugly matchup. 8 versus 10. So we'll see who's climbing the shit rope back to the top there.
Mr. Berrigan coming in at number 9. Um, I'm sure Alex is disappointed. He hasn't had some players pop off quite yet, or they have popped off just on his bench.
Yeesh.
So shout out
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson.
But but yeah, I mean, I think with Alex's record may be disappointing, but there's a lot of bright spots and players on his team that have been playing pretty well. Obviously, there's trouble when it comes to the team as a whole, but I think Alex is good. I mean, he's got some building blocks, so hopefully
That's
that translate to a better team, down the line here. Hopefully this year, but we'll see.
yeah. And then Matt, I'm so sorry, man. Number 10. I know you do not want to be here. Um, hopefully there's nowhere to go but down or but up, Matt.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, I don't see Matt coming in 10th. So I think Matt's going to start climbing. Hopefully not this week, but after this week, maybe he starts climbing his way back up. But yeah, I mean, he's getting kind of smoked again on points against too. I mean, his
Yeah.
team's not scoring not that much, but 8-6
That
the
point
highest.
against that 860 is glaring for sure.
Yeah, it is the highest actually. So
Yeah, it's
people are
definitely the
scoring against
highest.
him. Hopefully that translates to my team popping off this week too. But
Yeah. I'm in dogfights myself. I have the second most scored against me, but I also have the second most overall. So I'm in some dogfights still.
yeah, it's close matchups here. And I mean, this is a good part about the league. I mean, there's no team that is undefeated, so everybody's been bleeding a little bit there. But we said from the start of the year it's going to be a competitive season, and it looks like already to start off the gate here, it's already pretty tight here. So try not to get too discouraged. The 1-3s and the 0-4 and the 2-2s, but someone's going to be at the top of the mountain at the end of
Yeah.
the season here, and right now it's still pretty close.
Well, Marty, let's work our way towards the top of the mountain here.
I seen a trade in your queue right there.
Well, there's some things you don't need to see there. Let's just your boy Hugo's always in the market. Let's start with Matt. Just a quick go over. I think the problem here with Matt, and you were telling me in the pre-show meeting here, Marty, Russell Wilson's been very disappointing here on his team.
Yeah, I think honestly at the start of the year, we were all like really excited to see Denver play and see how that team was going to change with Russ. But truthfully speaking, hasn't changed much. Hasn't not changed much. It's still an offense that's struggling.
They haven't clicked.
Yeah, and a lot of teams sometimes, especially a new quarterback into a new system, they just need a little bit more time. So hopefully that's the case with Russ, but it's scary starting him on a weekly basis right now. He's got a very low floor, and those are the kind of guys you got to look out for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, both his running backs, just quickly go through it. Jonathan Taylor and Dalvin Cook, they haven't panned out to be top 5 running backs quite yet. But I mean, Taylor's a little injured, banged up with his ankle, but I'm sure both those running backs are gonna finish in the top 20 at least.
Yeah, you're hoping with Taylor that he was the number one, draft pick for a redraft league. So you're just hoping for more. And I feel like week 1, he had a great week with 35 points, but after that, it's been, slow sledding there. So it's kind of tough to see. I mean, hopefully and it's same thing with Dalvin Cook and Zeke for Matt, like, and even Edmonds too, like just the running backs, it's a lot of disappointing starts for them, and a very slow start for Matt's running back core, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's just his issue. His receivers will be fine. Tight end will be fine. So just the quarterback and the running backs, and I think Matt will get back up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. If we're talking about players to be concerned with, obviously we talked a lot about Russ, but a player that, I'd be excited to have is definitely Hollywood with Arizona right now for Matt, because I mean, the amount of targets he's getting on a weekly basis is unreal. And like he's, by far, getting the highest target share on that team there. So I think he's going to be a safe player for Matt to start every week this year, as long as he can stay healthy. And hopefully Matt's running backs can, start cooking. No pun intended with Dalvin Cook, but it's just been a little bit too slow, and that's part of the reason why Matt's 0-4.
Yeah, well said, Marty. Moving on to Alex's. I'm gonna say good things about Alex's team here because I liked his trade for Clyde. I mean, giving up a first, looking back at it, seems to be working out for him because Clyde's been a very good, surprising running back this year.
Yeah.
And he had a hell of a week last week, and so did Jamal Williams covering for DeAndre Swift. So I'd like shout out to Alex's top running backs for a change.
Yeah, for real. Especially, I mean, starting at the top, Jamal Williams there.
Hell of a week this past week. 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, without Swift there, like he definitely filled that void, that giant hole very well. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the dude is just getting touchdowns, dude. He's getting touchdowns every single week. So pretty safe there. Hopefully the touchdowns stick. But yeah, I agree. I think that was a good trade for Alex. He's young. I don't know how long he's going to be in Kansas City for, but
he's got at least 1 more year before they get to the 5th-year option.
Yeah,
so 2 more years technically.
Good player for this year, I'll say that. And then, what we were saying before, bright spots for Alex's team when it comes to like building blocks. Olave is already starting to look like a really good starter.
Worth the number 4 overall pick.
Yeah, so definitely worth that pick. So kudos there, Alex. Again, that was a sneaky good pick because I think on our little sheets there, no one expected the Olave pick, but it's good to see that it's already kind of paying off to a certain degree on Alex's team.
For sure. And just because those are the bright spots that I see. For me, it's been consistent. Hawkinson up and down, had a hell of a week on his bench, but Alex's receivers have been killing him behind Olave. And that's why he finds himself at number 9, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, it's the flexes is where things are starting to get a little bit more sketchy on Alex's team there.
This is where the depth that we're scared with. Brendan, I feel like this is what could happen here.
Yeah, a lot of boomer busts on Alex's team, and lately it's been a lot more busts with Elijah Moore, or both the Moores, more bros. But and then Derek Carr too. Even we were pretty excited for Derek Carr to have Devontae there, but I think we were expecting a little bit more from him.
Yeah, he's only QB number 12 as we can see over here.
Yeah.
This hasn't really flashed too much. 16.5 points this past week, so
it's
he can improve.
Yeah, he's been startable, but it's not like you're really excited about any of the games he's put up thus far. So hopefully that changes, but so far needs a little more to get those wins.
There you go, Marty. Let's jump to your team here. Just I think Saquon's back, Marty, and you, I'm sure, are over the moon about it.
Yeah, I might have to change his name. But yeah, definitely one of the bright spots on my team is, Saquon.
RB2 on the year, Marty.
He had 30 carries, 31 carries last week. So
31 carries for 146.
He's basically that entire offense. The offense is running through Saquon. As long as he can stay healthy, knock on wood. He's in for a great season. I was kind of hoping, another running back on my team would really shine, whether that was AJ Dillon, Jeff Wilson, or Kareem Hunt, where, there'd be my guy that I could start and be confident in. But truthfully, it's been a lot of me not starting the right players and it turning into an L by, losing by like 10 to 20 points. So that's where my issues have really been. But with Diggs and Debo, obviously, and Saquon, I think,
Debo finally woke up this week.
Yeah, one of the longest touchdown runs of the season so far, or catches, I should say, 54 yards or 57 or something.
And Diggs has been automatic #1 receiver on the year. He's been spectacular.
Yeah. So, you know, the bright spot about my team is I have a lot of good players and a lot of startable players, and now Brees Hall is another player that's getting a little bit more consistent. So starting him this week here against Matt, but
Yeah, he's
he's
definitely
getting
picked
more
it
and
up
more
here.
work as he's turning it, and you can even see it in the description there. But he's starting to the tides are starting to shift more in his favor as far as carries go, and he's catching the ball too. You know, I think he's going to be a safer play for me just because of the workload, but not a bad rookie draft pick so far on that one
Yeah,
there.
and London's working out for you. So those are bright spots. Bad spots, I think, is Kittle on your team. He's hurting you. He just hasn't done what he should be. I mean,
Yeah, he's
number
only played 2 games,
47.
but they're using him in a lot of. I mean, he looks great blocking. I'll say that, but
That
for
doesn't score
fantasy
fantasy
wise, yeah,
points.
fantasy wise, it's not really helping too much there. But he almost had a touchdown last night, but just couldn't get the toes down.
There you
Um,
go.
so there's not a lot of good tight ends out there, but Brian's definitely got the best one, or maybe Vinny now too with Andrews. But
Yeah, still Coco.
yeah,
Dude, Travis Kelsey's just a savage.
but yep,
There you go, Marty. Let's talk about Steve's. Earlier I was saying how this was my most disappointing team here. I just see a lot of players that just haven't met expectations, and I think Steve is lucky to be 2-2. He should be more a 1-3 team. He just got the better of Matt, unfortunately. But I think the big glaring part here, that I'll immediately get to is Kyle Pitts. As a Kyle Pitts owner in another redraft league, I'm pissed I took him in the 3rd round, dude. But for Steve, I'm sure he's not so happy that his supposed #2 overall pick, superstar tight end, hasn't lived up to the hype yet.
yeah. I mean, for Steve, I'd say a lot of the disappointment comes from the Arizona offense. I would say, right, James. I mean, if they're not scoring touchdowns and the offense isn't moving, then Murray and Connor. Connor was one. What didn't Connor almost have like the most touchdowns, if not the most, last year?
And
So
yeah, just behind Eckler with 20.
yeah, so you know that offense is having a tough time here, and I think it's really hurting Steve. And yeah, the wide
Funny you
receivers
say
is
that.
more of
Fun,
a huh?
funny you say that. I actually found out a stat today that the Arizona Cardinals have only scored 16 total first half points this year through 4 games.
Yeah,
That's kind of gross.
yeah. That and to my point, their offense is just struggling. They're having a tough time just getting down the field. A lot of punting. So Connor's definitely hurting because of that, dude. He's just not getting the
Yeah.
points.
I mean, he picked it up a little bit this past week. Most yards on the season with 55,
Yeah.
but took
Every
him 55 carries. That's not great.
the
Or
projections,
15.
dude, their projections are poopy, dude. They keep giving him trying to get him into the 20s, like
Yeah.
mid 20s, and he's hasn't broken, 21
No.
yet. So
RB 33 on the year.
yeah.
Or I'm sorry, 29 on the year.
Well, it's good to see Derrick Henry. I mean, obviously Derrick Henry is one of those players that gets better as the season goes on. He's had a little bit of a slow start for Steve, but um, he's going to be fine there.
Najee's been a little upsetting as well,
Yeah, and
unfortunately.
then the receivers are boomer bust too. Honestly, with Johnson. I mean,
Deontay, now that Kenny Pickett's coming in for the Steelers,
yeah,
he's got a big question mark. Is he going to see any targets? Because shout out to Matt here. I think George Pickens is coming.
yeah. I mean, Johnson's still really good, so I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere. But um, I
And
just don't really see. He's just one of those guys that's going to be put in like middle of the road kind of weeks on the board there. So, and then hopefully Amari Cooper. I mean, he needs touchdowns, but Cleveland kind of sucks. They just run the ball.
yeah, quick shout out to J.K. Dobbins here, real quick. Had a hell of a game back, and I think just catching the ball and running the ball, got in the end zone twice. This is a bright spot for Steve's team, and I think he's
Yeah,
excited to get Dobbins back.
yeah, it's cool that you can actually put him into his lineup here. After not having him all season and not having him week 1 and week 2. So
Yeah.
hopefully it pays off this week.
Next we'll get to Dylan at #6. I'm gonna be wicked biased here, obviously. I think Jalen Hurts is leading the MVP. It's either him or Lamar Jackson. Obviously,
I think
Lamar
Lamar has it
took
way
took
over Jalen
he
right
took a big hit though with the loss this past weekend. So they're 2-2. Eagles are 4-0. I mean, wins get you a couple extra MVP votes this year, but all I'm saying is basically Jalen Hurts has arrived this year,
Yeah, no, he's definitely an MVP candidate as of week
helping Dylan win.
4. But yeah, I mean he's helped them get some wins. Um, freaking dude, when he beat me, dude, all of his
Number 3 overall player in fantasy this year, number 3 quarterback.
yeah.
He's just been on fire.
Oh, you know who number 1 is though? It's
Oh
Lamar.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean with Dylan, I mean I like Melvin Gordon going forward now. I mean they have no better option, although he definitely has a fumble problem right now. So
Huge fumble problem. Has 5 fumbles in his last 44 carries.
yeah,
Not good.
that's bad. So and one of them got returned for a touchdown. So
Yeah.
hate to see it. But I don't think they have any more options other than what Boone and now that Javante's out for the season, which sucks. Um, I do.
We'll get to him.
I mean, yeah. I mean, truthfully, Dylan's got a lot of boomer bust players too. Like
Jared Goff on his
Duvernay.
bench, just going through it. There's nothing exciting on the bench, but just boomer bust. I that's why I think his Cinderella moment happened. He got his 2 wins, and I think he's in for some L's. Maybe a lot of L's coming up in the future.
Yeah, me too. Sorry, Dylan, but
Yeah, that's all we got on you, Dylan.
don't love it.
We'll jump up to my team. It was always Herbert, always Herbert. Um, I have exciting guys here. And I just want to shout out my receiving core. Between Mike Williams, Waddle, T. Higgins, really T. Higgins, AJ Brown, and Waddle. Those are 3 top 15 receivers or top 10 receivers, I think, on my team so far this year. Those guys have single-handedly carried me this year so far.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely picking up where Mike Williams is kind of struggling. I think he's kind of been a little bit of a letdown as far as being, with Herbert, you're expecting a lot of points. And
Yeah, he's
Mike
just a
Williams,
little too boomer bust for me. Wide receiver 20 on the year, so had a
yeah,
good game this past
yeah,
weekend.
yeah, not
7
bad
for
actually.
120.
But yeah, he is definitely boomer bust. He's either scoring very little or he's almost breaking the 30s there. So
Yeah, having mega games.
yeah,
So he's someone to keep an eye on.
Aaron
Aaron
Jones
Jones,
too has been a little bit of a letdown.
I au contraire, dude. He's definitely been my most consistent running back. He had a great game against the Patriots, I felt like
Yeah, actually,
21-50.
you're right. He had a 40-point game against Chicago, so not too
Yeah.
disappointing there. But
Number 10 running back on the year.
yeah, all right, never mind then.
Shocker on mine. Tyler Higbee's been playing great, but I just have a problem with my last flex spot, and I got hit with the dreaded injury here, Marty. I lost Javonte Williams. It fucking sucks. As second year in a row, I lose a really good running back. Akers last year still hasn't recovered fully, and now Javonte. It's just devastating to the dynasty team. But you'll find no bigger Ramondre Stevenson fan going forward. Um, hopefully he plays well and leads the charge. How do you feel about Ramondre? Just like as a Pats fan and how he's been getting touches.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough with the Patriots running back core, dude. You just never really know who's going to be getting the bulk of the workload on a weekly basis. So it's he's going to have some good games. He's going to have some bad games. He's probably one of those players where you really got to start playing, thinking about matchups before you play him. So
yeah, I mean the last 2 weeks he's really come along, 25 points and almost 19. So he's coming up. Great matchup
good
against
matchup
Detroit
this
this
week.
week.
So
I expect him to be in the 20s for sure.
yeah. So
And shout out to the number 1 defense in fantasy football this year. Have you been watching any of the Eagles on TV? Because they are mobbing people and swarming on defense. It's been
yeah, their defense
awesome.
is scary. Their line, dude, is just getting a lot of sacks too. dude, 9 sacks. Damn, holy crap, on one game.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're, I mean, definitely number one defense this year here, 21
Wait,
points, 34 and 26 in the last 3 weeks. So, hate to say it, but sometimes defenses really do help you win matchups. And
this is one of them for sure.
yeah, that's one of the ones to have.
I kept them all off season. And I refused to change my defense. I'm like, why would I change from the number one defense?
Who's your next running back up?
Let me just go back up. My next running back, if one were to go down, is Cam Akers.
Yeah,
So
that's
even
another
him,
sketchy one a little bit, just because they're
he's under the disappointing players this year.
yeah.
Obviously, week one when he didn't even get like a yard, that sucked. 3 total touches, but he's working his way back up. Him and Henderson are still splitting it 50
Yeah,
50.
it seems like they're just going with the hot hand. Whoever's doing well that game is going to be getting more of the carries. So that's kind of a dart throw kind of player right now. So
Yeah.
sucks. I used to love Cam Akers before the whole Achilles tear there, and now things are a lot more questionable because of it.
Yep. So moving on to Jorge here. Jorge, it's tough to tell with Jorge. He's had favorable matchups too. I feel like week one he just exploded on me. He's been 1-2 ever since. Or I'm sorry, 2-1. So Jorge's still finding ways to win here. What do you think about his team?
I really like Jorge's, obviously his wide receiving core. Really, really good with Chase, Jefferson. Those guys are going to be going off, a good amount of the games that they're playing there. And then
Jefferson number 4 on the year and Jamar number 13 on the year.
yeah, so I think honestly one of Jorge's biggest bright spots though has got to be Christian Kirk, dude. He's been pretty lights out.
He's been
As
great.
far as
I was shocked with him. He's a top 10 receiver this year.
yep.
Number 10.
So as far as like draft capital goes, like that's a steal. I don't think anyone really saw that coming, and he's putting up 20 points every week right now. So Jacksonville looks a lot better this year than they did last year, and so does Christian Kirk.
And Josh Allen is gonna Josh Allen.
Yep, quarterback number 2 on the year. Like Jorge's got a pretty scary team. I don't love his running backs is the only thing. Josh Jacobs just came off a good week, but Herbert.
Herbert and Gibson are tough running backs to rely on.
Yeah, Gibson. He had a pretty good start to the year, but he's kind of slowed up the last couple of weeks.
Brian Robinson is coming back this week or potentially real soon.
Another bright spot on Jorge's team. Shout out to myself for dropping him for you, Jorge.
Oh yeah, Rashad Penny.
But yeah, he had a great run last week.
Something funny, Marty. I actually was the one that picked him up after you dropped him, and then I dropped him, and then Jorge picked him up.
Yeah, so Jorge's got a lot of good depth, too. So I like the team. I think Jorge's done well. Even Bateman too down the line, another kind of boomer bust player, but one of those guys that if he's booming, he's putting up a lot of points or has a chance to.
Hell yeah. Moving on to Coco. Again, this is just his top players carrying him. Hill, Kelsey, and Sutton have been his best players so far. McCaffrey's been consistent, in my opinion, but hasn't had those superstar games. And I think we're in trouble once McCaffrey does have to start having those games.
Yeah.
But for now, he's chugging along. I think quarterback's a big problem for
Yeah,
Brian here.
Stafford has been very disappointing so far. I mean, honestly, the Rams offense has been having a tough time moving the ball. Besides,
unless your name is Cooper Kupp.
Strategy, which is give Cooper Kupp the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, the offense hasn't looked too good, and I think Stafford is. I wouldn't be too confident starting him on a weekly basis.
No, Tyreek Hill's been amazing.
Yeah, Tyreek's been lights out. Wide receiver on the year.
Him on Miami. I knew it was going to work with him and Waddle. I think you could just tell, just having those two speedsters, real good problem to have if you're Miami.
It's tough to stop. I think honestly, his Sutton. To your point, Sutton is very steady and consistent there.
He's been very consistent this year. Yeah. Wide receiver 11 on the year,
putting up 20s and high teens. So good to see from a flex position. But my area for concern is definitely, I mean, Kelsey obviously great, best tight end in the league. part of the reason why Brian Coco is winning so much. And but the concern for me is the Kansas City receiving core. Um, the ball is just getting spread out so much between that offense. It's just
Very much.
uh,
MVS, I don't know how he's starting. Um, I'm sure Coco should have a better player than him starting. Maybe Tyler Algier coming up this week, or Michael Gallup's coming back too. I think Michael Gallup could be a startable player for Coco.
yeah, truthfully, Coco might have trouble with bye weeks coming up with, but whatever the Kansas City bye week is, whoever's versus
Yeah.
him that week, I hope it's me, but I know it's definitely not me. It's probably hopefully it's Matt, but but we'll see.
We'll move on to Brendan. Just again, we said his top players were going to carry him, and that's what's been happening. Just shout out Damian Pierce. He's arrived.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about bright spots on the team, Damian Pierce has the longest touchdown run of the year. So yeah, that
He's
was, I
been
mean,
very fun to watch.
pretty explosive. Obviously, offense kind of sucks in Houston, but Damian Pierce has still been able to give Brendan like 20 points a week. So at least the
Yep.
last couple of weeks.
And then Cooper Cup, he's wide receiver 1 on the year. He's back to where he left off. Again, Matt Stafford, this is the only person that Matt Stafford has eyes for.
If we're talking about disappointing spots, we got to at least mention Kamara. I know he hasn't
Very
played
disappointing.
much, but I think he's only played 2 games and he hasn't broken 10 points yet. So
Yep.
um,
Yeah, he's definitely top
player,
3
not
disappointing player
great
for
to
me this
start.
year.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I love Kamara as a player. Hopefully, we see more of that. That pizzazz and the style that he has in that offense. But we haven't really seen it much yet. And then
Yeah.
Judy. I mean, 2 firsts for Judy Brennan. Wide receiver 44 so far.
Unbelievable.
Not great.
So that was Gerald Everett has been a bright
Gerald
spot for
Everett has been
Brendan.
pretty sweet for a tight end. He's got to
Yeah.
be up there.
Number 6 on the year. He's been a bright spot, and you could thank your auto draft last year, Brendan, for this player on your team. Some people just get lucky, you know.
Yeah.
All right, and then Vinny, he's had great players. Lamar Jackson, obviously, leading the charge. He should be the number 1 overall player in fantasy, and he is. He's a rock star. What can you do about him when he's putting up
got 2 50-point weeks, so that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
His lowest week has been 20 points, and then he's got a 52, 49, 28. So MVP, I think so, at least so far. So kudos there, Vinny. I'm sure Vinny's loving that. Nick Chubb has had a great year too.
He's just been consistent. So has James Robinson, but Nick Chubb is the number 1 running back right now. He's just been dominating every week, 100 yards. Except week 2 here, he only had 87, but he's just been running wild.
So yeah, so
yeah,
I weren't there, but the touchdowns sure were. But yeah, I mean
his receivers are about to be on the way up.
His starting lineup has been performing. There's not really a weak spot that I see in the starting lineup there.
Yeah, Miles Sanders has been a bright spot for him too.
Yeah, yep. He's definitely performed better this year than last year. Say that. But great week last week from him. And then I would say the only disappointing spot would be Devonta Smith, but he still had 1 boom game.
He has 1 boom game on his bench.
Yeah, so I guess that's a little disappointing for Vince, but I have him in a few leagues. He's been kind of tricky, do I start him, do I not? So hopefully Vince makes the right decision and starts him this week, just like myself. But we'll see. That's Vinny's doing really well. He's by far smoking everybody with 905 points. Next highest is what? Eight you, Hugo, or no?
Yeah, me at 817.
Yeah, so Vinny's smoking it.
Yeah. So through 4 weeks, it's so wide open as we were saying at the intro. I think Vinny's gonna keep chugging along. He should probably finish 1 or 2 seed, if I had to guess. So the rest of us will be fighting. I think my team's on the rise still. I have good players and I should finish above 500. I promise that I will finish above 500. So that's what I got to say about the check-in that we're doing this week.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we agree on a lot of things you just said there. Very competitive league. Let's keep it going. Things are gonna get shooken up with the bye weeks coming up here, I firmly believe, and I'm excited about it.
Get
But
ready,
good start to
boys.
the year, maybe better for some than others, but let's go. Week 5 coming up. What do we got for Thursday night?
We got Colts at Broncos.
Ugh,
Yeah, not great, especially
yeah.
if no JT, but we'll see. That's dirty talk with Nana people.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Until next time.
See ya.
Peace out.